everybody.
Welcome to Bimbo Summit.
Welcome to Bimbo Summit. This is a podcast about... This is a direct competitor to another podcast. It's sort of a... in the true crime space.
Oh. Yeah?
Yeah.
And who are we competing with?
Well, I don't want to say it, you know? I don't want to... I don't want, you know... I mean, they're a little more successful than us so far.
So far, yeah.
So far. But yeah, this is basically...
Give it time.
What?
I said give it time.
Give it time. Yeah. Give it time. I mean, they've been in the game a lot longer than we have.
Yeah.
So.
And we don't really rely on like cheap tricks or like gimmicks, you know.
Yeah.
This is like a podcast with integrity, you know.
All I'll say is stay sexy and thanks for listening to Bimbo Summit.
You know, like we only have to go to group therapy like every once in a while to work out the fact that we fucking hate each other.
We should, dude. I've been pushing this forever.
We should. Well, you keep pushing horse therapy.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Group horse therapy.
How does everybody feel about horses?
They're too big. Too big for me.
Too big? Too big for Sarah?
I have so much respect for their beauty, and I don't want to be near it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's something inhospitable to me about a horse.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to be like riding on an animal. That's for sure.
Yeah, it can stay over there in the field. I'll give it a wave. Hello.
Yeah, I'll wave at it.
I'll admire your haunch. That's enough. What about you, Dylan?
I always feel threatened by them a little bit, like
because they're as big as you.
Yeah, like I don't think anything should be as big as me. That's like weird, and I get freaked out when that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's understandable.
Yeah.
Like you want to fight one a little?
No, I just like I'm kind of just like, you know, stay in your lane and I'll stay in mine. Like, but like we can't coexist as similar sized creatures.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like.
So like if one took over your neighborhood, you'd have to fight him.
Yeah, like I wouldn't want one in my neighborhood.
Like if one moved in next door, you'd have to fight him.
I mean, yeah, that wouldn't be acceptable for me. That would make me feel like insecure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought for a long time I had ridden a horse before when I was a kid, and then I realized upon like just the barest amount of scrutiny that it was definitely a pony, both times.
But you were little.
Yeah, so a pony to a small child is a horse to an adult. Is that what you mean?
Are they different animals?
So it was like the equivalency. It's like if you rode a horse now, I'd be like riding a pony then.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Dylan, they are different animals. A pony is like... Wait, is a pony half donkey?
Wait, I thought...
I swear we talked about this on
I
the
think we
podcast.
probably
Wait,
did.
I thought ponies grew up into horses. Wait, we did talk about this, didn't we?
Yeah, we have talked about this.
I can't. Well...
I don't remember what conclusion we came to.
I think they're all the same thing. They're just slightly different breeds.
Oh,
like
yeah.
how, like, there's so many kind of dogs.
A pony is a type of small horse. So I have ridden a horse, unless it was a donkey,
See?
which it might have been.
That's...
What's the one that's half horse, half donkey? A mule? A mule.
That's a mule. Wait, I thought a mule was just
And
a
what's-
lady horse.
That's a mare.
Oh.
A mule is a domestic equine hybrid between a donkey and a horse.
You guys know so much about horses.
Equine.
Wikipedia.org.
Well, you're the one who wanted to do horse therapy. I thought you'd know a little bit about horses.
Yeah, you live in Kentucky.
Well, yeah, I live in Kentucky.
Horse
I
capital.
don't work in horses, you know.
Are horses endemic to the U.S.?
You wouldn't even fit in horses. You couldn't work in them.
Horses are not native
what
to
about
the
the
US.
Assateague? What about the Assateague ponies? Aren't they?
Yeah, how'd horses get over here?
The Assateague ponies?
I've seen the Assateague ponies. They're beautiful.
What are you talking
The
about?
Assateague ponies. They're wild. I guess that doesn't mean they're native, though.
No, they're not native. They're not native.
Where did horses
Where'd they
come
from?
Are horses like Arabian?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're like a camel.
They're
yeah,
like
horse is a smooth camel.
They're like from that whole like what do you call that big like block of land that's like the whole thing.
A horse is like a camel who got a massage and it smoothed him out.
And he took biotin.
Yeah, he took
a lot of
biotin.
biotin.
I have to look up where
Luscious
horses
name.
are from now.
some shark DNA.
They're probably like Egyptian or something.
Because they had them in the Bible.
Are cats Egyptian?
Are there horses in the Bible? Are you sure?
Yeah, there's horses in the Bible.
I don't think there's camels in the Bible.
There's certainly horses in the Old Testament. You're telling me there's
And
no
you said a
horses?
camel
there's horses
You
in
said
the
a
New
camel
Testament.
was a bumpy horse.
You're
A camel's a
saying-
bumpy horse. There's definitely horses in the New Testament.
Do you think Jesus ever rode a horse?
I think he probably rode a camel.
Why do you ride a camel?
I don't think he would have ridden a horse.
I don't think they had horses over there.
You don't think they had horses over there? In
I don't
Judea?
know. Yeah, because they famously were always on the camels.
Horses came from
Okay,
Central
in
Asia.
Deuteronomy, in no unequivocal terms, forbids the use of horses. So there were horses because Deuteronomy says do not.
Wait, it's
get
again-
out of
In
there.
what way don't you use them?
Maybe any, I don't know.
Yeah, don't use them. Like, what?
Like in what manner do they
Like-
use?
Don't ghost them, you know.
Is this like part of the Is this like part of the covenant that was like is anybody still keeping up with this? Is anybody still obeying that one?
People are gonna think this episode is about horses.
Maybe it is.
Maybe
I
it is.
mean, how many minutes in are we? This is just the horse.
10.
10. Wow, Jesus.
Okay,
It's 10.
listener,
Okay.
we're really embodying the spirit of chaos today. We do have a topic planned.
Yeah.
I did, when I was putting the baby to sleep, I clicked on 2 articles and I skimmed them. That's my research. Dylan?
Yeah, I did a little bit of research, but not that much. You know, I've been just busy, you guys. I've been like,
Yeah.
it's tough to keep up with the workload here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Izzy, what about you?
I downloaded all information from the Britannica
Into your brain?
to my brain, so I know a lot.
She's a walking encyclopedia on our topic, which today is...
You needed it. You asked for it. And no,
needed it.
You needed it. You couldn't let it go. We couldn't let it go. That's right, boys. We won. It's Puddles.
All right, you didn't win. It's like, this is like a consolation episode for all the
Puddles
boys.
win. Puddles win.
You know.
And we're treating it with boy energy, which means that we didn't really do any research.
Yeah.
But we showed up with a great attitude, and we're ready to knock this thing out of the park.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
tear.
we got
I
a
have
lot of charisma. We got a lot of
attitude.
drive. No. Today we're like embodying the spirit of America. It's the 4th of July.
We are recording
We're
on
gonna
the
be
4th of
patriotic.
July.
We're gonna be respectful. We're gonna put a boot in their ass.
What's your most patriotic like trait? Like or like do you guys do anything patriotic? Like
What's my most patriotic trait is probably like having like a negative opinion of most other Western countries.
yeah, I'm Europhobic.
and Canada.
I love Canada.
Yeah.
Canada.
I think my most American trait is like feeling genuinely defensive when Europeans like talk shit about America. I'm like, you guys could not deal with a single second in this country. You would like instantly explode if you ate a Cheez-It.
Yeah.
My most American trait is I love fireworks.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. Yeah.
And like eating a hot dog outside. I think that's just great.
Ooh,
Yeah,
hot
like going to
dog.
the demo derby, mudding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eating some corn, chilling out, listening to some tunes.
Yeah, like knowing the names of different kinds of farm equipment, just like kind of through osmosis. Liking to see shit blow up.
Yeah.
Liking to watch shit get knocked over.
Hell yeah.
Loud.
The construction
Loud
sites.
and bright.
Loud and bright.
Loud and bright.
Screaming in a big group.
Yeah, I like went to Walmart the other day and had a great time. Like had a lot of fun, got some incredible deals, got some really cheap blueberries, got some really cheap goat cheese, you know, it's just like having a great time with my family in the Walmart.
Oh, yeah. You know, I think my most American trait is that my brother works at the gun counter at rural camp.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
Like a cooler down by the creek, you know.
I like it on the 4th of July when my uncle Jim comes over to the family gathering and he brings his ice cream maker, and you know it's like
Ooh.
rock salt vanilla ice cream with the crank. Yeah. And it's not an old-timey one. I mean, it's made of some kind of blue plastic, but let me tell you, yeah, I just like making that 4th of July ice cream.
I don't really believe that speed limits are real. I kind of think the speed limit is whatever you can get away with. That's not very European. That's a pretty American thing to do, I think.
What happened to him? Where has he been?
Jim?
Yeah.
He's probably doing
I
good.
also have an Uncle Jim, whose whereabouts, no idea.
Oh, he died.
Oh. R.I.P.
He's my great uncle. Anyway.
On this 4th of July.
Yeah.
You should carry on the tradition of cranking that thing.
Cranking that at that ice cream, at that...
Dylan carries on the tradition of cranking that thing every day. Okay, but we're not here to talk about cranking that thing. We're here today to talk about Puddles.
I'm here to talk about Puddles, and I don't want to hear any shit from you.
Yeah, nothing blue, nothing dirty.
I think Puddle City over here in North Brooklyn, I tell you what.
Yeah, what's going on in Brooklyn with the puddles?
It's flooding.
Yeah.
Over here in North Brooklyn, when it rains, it just floods. Basement. If you live in a basement, first floor, hope you're okay.
Ugh. So is the problem the water table? You got a bad water table over there?
It just gets in everywhere.
Why? But why? It has nowhere to go because you guys are surrounded by the ocean.
It's just basements are always getting flooded.
Right, but
businesses are always being flooded.
It's not supposed to happen. Level. Places are supposed to have drainage.
It's because the drains are full of trash.
Oh, so everything's clogged.
Everything is always clogged.
Why isn't there a municipal unclogger?
They don't clean the streets.
Oh, I see.
Because
the parks are manicured, but streets.
She lives in Trash Town, is what she's saying. She's a denizen of Trash Town. Are the subways flooded?
I'm on the 3rd floor, so got no problems.
Wow.
Yeah, the subway was flooded.
What do you do?
Subway's
Can you just not? Does it not work?
No, it goes.
How do the trains go if there's
electrocuted?
Oh God, how do the trains go if there's water down there on the tracks?
3rd rail, baby.
That makes it electric.
I don't know. Somehow, I see these wires dangling in the subway, and there's water coming out of the ceiling. I can't believe it.
Oh God.
But somehow it keeps going. So
New York City, baby.
Something's working.
It's Trash Town. She's taking the wet train to the city.
It is cool not having to have a car though. I can get anywhere very easily.
Nice. And
that's the numb tot in me really respects that.
Dylan, what were you gonna say?
Don't remember. I turned my air conditioner off to record this.
Oh no, it's hot talk again.
It's so goddamn hot.
It's hot talk.
It's funny,
it's hot talk with Dylan.
You guys are so great, and recording is great with you guys and stuff. But the thing I associate most with this podcast is just being 85 degrees.
Here, you got to do what Jordan does. Sometimes Jordan gets what we call the spell of hot foot, and he has to get a bucket. And just sit with his feet in the bucket. Have you ever done that?
No, it's never the feet that get hot for me.
No, it doesn't. It's okay. Even if your feet aren't hot, putting your feet in the cold will make your whole body cooler.
I have a bucket, but it's gross.
Because the feet are the heart of your body.
Well, I don't want to put my feet in that bucket.
Well, why don't you make the bucket not gross? I know you have a bathtub. You could rinse it out.
That's my mop
you
water
could use
bucket.
You could use a stainless steel bowl from your kitchen.
I don't have a stainless steel bowl in my
Do you have
kitchen.
A plastic
bowl? You just put your feet in the bathtub.
Like a cereal bowl?
Not while he's recording.
Ooh, I should record in the bathroom.
It'd probably be real echoey.
Yeah. I don't have any bowls really that are I have a cereal bowl.
He doesn't have any bowls.
I have a glass fruit bowl.
Dylan, it's it's not my job to find something spherical for you to put your feet in.
I have an old coffee can.
Your feet are way too big for that.
No, it's Kirkland's signature. It's a what is it? It's about 3 pounds. That's 1.36 kgs.
Can you comfortably fit
out there?
Both feet in a Kirkland signature coffee bucket?
It'd be a tight fit, but we could do it.
No, this is about relaxing.
All right, so puddles.
So the fundamental question is what is a puddle?
What is a puddle? I mean, I'm going to classify puddles as a stagnant pool of liquid.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean stagnant as in like the ocean is in a puddle because there's currents, right?
Right.
The rivers aren't a puddle because they're moving. Some movement is allowed. So light oozing and bubbling is allowed in a puddle. And in fact,
like
encouraged.
if the wind blows it a little, right?
Yeah. Ponds are puddles. I think ponds and I think lakes often are puddles as well. But we can get into that. That's a hot take.
That's a hot take. Because, yeah, like what's the size limit on a puddle?
I think no limit.
No limit. So, well, like what's the difference between a pond and a lake? Size, right?
Yeah.
Only?
I'm not
depth? Or just size?
Yeah, I think size and depth.
Yeah, I would say that's fair, but I feel like you're going to trick me.
Can a pond be deep?
A pond
no,
can be deep.
I'm not going anywhere. I have a growth mindset about
Pond
this.
could be deep. I mean, I guess you're getting into like a shaft. You know, like is like a quarry shaft a puddle?
Right.
That is a puddle. That's a puddle.
No, a quarry shaft is not a puddle.
The quarries are a puddle.
It is what is in it. It could be a puddle. There could be a puddle in
that
it.
I don't think
opaque, like mint green water. That is a puddle.
But it's geometric. It has geometric sides. Like, that's not puddle behavior. Puddles are, like, inherently kind of on a gradient.
I mean, you've contained a puddle within some 90-degree angles, but that's a puddle.
And also, isn't that spring water? That's not stagnant water.
I think puddles also tend to be incidental. Like,
yeah.
You don't build a puddle. You know.
Well, you don't build the water, and I mean nobody fills a quarry with water on purpose. It's just that you get down deep enough and the water's there.
That's what I'm getting at. That's why it's a puddle.
No, but the water moves in quarries. It's not. I don't think it's stagnant water.
So you all voted for lava, and not all of you, but some of you, and we did lava, and now we're gonna do puddles. And the thing about puddles is that it's a tougher topic. Lava,
emotionally
flashy, right? Knowable. It is something, right? It is a defined thing.
Yeah.
Puddles, you know, like I keep saying, puddles beckon with inherent mystery.
Yeah.
And it's almost to do them a disservice to seek to know them, you know?
For sure.
Lest they become no longer puddles at all, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah?
They're in their nature unknowable. I'm so worried about what is about to be said.
What's that reading level number?
It depends. There's like Fontes and Pinnell. F and P is one.
What's it's someone with the L?
Lexile. Oh,
yeah.
With an L. That might be F and P. Lexile is numbers. There's one that's like A through Z.
Lexile is the test I took.
Lexile gives you a number.
Yeah. Is 550 good?
A Lexile of 550?
Yes.
That's like, I can't really remember, but I want to say that that's like middle school.
Oh.
You do not have a Lexile of 550, Dylan. No.
What are you talking about? What's Lexile?
This is Lexile is okay. So third grade Lexile is 100 through 1,120.
Oh.
No. But it also says grade 6 is 300 through 1,340. I mean, you got to know these like systems are not really as mathematic as they pretend to be.
I could be in like 3rd through 6th grade.
Because reading level is actually much more like, it's so much more related to like interests and enthusiasm. Like a lot of people will have a much worse Lexile if they read a more boring text. And so there's like a lot of confounds with things like attention, you know? So if you are not attentive to what you're reading because it sucks and it's boring, you're going to probably do worse on a comprehension test about it.
I did skip a few of the questions because the paragraph was too long. And I just clicked one.
That might be why, buddy.
Okay.
This is like in public school, it's the way that you like track, you test and track a child's ability to read. But as I said, it's an extremely flawed system.
That's good to know.
It kills the love of reading. I hate it. I have a huge problem with it.
Yeah.
It makes people think that reading is a boring chore that you have to do.
I mean, kinda, but...
And that the point of reading is to, like, extract information that you will then be drilled on.
I think one of the best parts about liquids is that they can be pretty much anything. Like...
Why did you ask me about your Lexile?
I just, like, took a test earlier today. It wasn't connected to Puddles.
Okay.
Thank you for letting me know that
You're fine.
I'm 550.
You're not 550.
I got 550 legitimately trying as hard as I could in the moment.
No, because you skipped questions, dingus.
Oh, like a couple. I was like, God, that's long.
Also,
the
way
like,
most
Mary
of those
eats
tests work, the way that, like, the I read test, which all third graders have to pass in order to pass third grade, works, is that the questions get harder and harder the more you answer correctly. Because it's trying to find, like, a stopping point of what you can't do anymore. So if you skip them, it's going to think you're a dum-dum.
Oh, okay, I see. And that's the Indiana Reading Evaluation and Determination. I read 3.
Yeah. I read 3, yeah.
Okay.
I've had to proctor a lot of I read 3. It's a real grift.
Gotcha. I like this. This is cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think that's cool. That's like a cigarette,
about...
but it's like a like a standardized learning system.
What were you going to say?
Could
God,
a puddle
it's
be a syrup?
so hot in here. A puddle could be a syrup.
Oh, because what about when you have like a puddle in your fridge?
Oh yeah, I have a couple of those.
Yeah, that's definitely
Just a
gelatinous
dark,
nature.
thick.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the really broad appeal of puddles. It's like they're like unknowable, and then like once you know them, they cease to be. In a way.
Puddles?
Yeah.
No, they cease to be.
They cease to be
Well, like they cease
to be puddles.
Like, okay, like you see a puddle and it's like thick and it's viscous and it's on the floor of your fridge. And you go, oh God, it's dark. And you go, oh God, what is that? And then you
Does your fridge not have a light?
You get, well, I mean, I'm not working with a big budget here, Sarah.
Okay, yeah.
But no, I mean, the liquid is dark.
Okay.
And
right.
you get your paper towels or whatever, and you try to scoop some of it up to sort of test how viscous it's gonna be, and it it gels up, kind of crystallizes, and you make
goopy.
A noise. You go ooh, and then you kind of look at it, and then you smell it, and you see it's kind of crystallized, and you go, oh, that's maple syrup, right?
Yeah, right.
That puddle that made you go ooh right earlier, like that is no longer a puddle. That's just like some maple syrup in your fridge.
Yeah, no, it's definitely still a puddle.
But it's not like, it doesn't, like, I think puddle as a label is so appealing because it's like that's best possible appraisal. That's when puddles really capture me, like
when you don't know what it contains.
Yeah, like when a puddle is just like something where it's like the best word I have to describe what this is puddle.
What about when it's like shiny, like shimmering, like it has a rainbow
like
in
there's
it?
Oil on top.
I mean, is it? I don't know what that is that makes it look like that.
Oh
I just know it looks nice.
Is it a portal?
Yeah, exactly. Is it a portal?
Puddles are really just exciting stuff.
My personal best puddle experience, I think I discussed this on the podcast before, was watching somebody shave in a puddle on the last day of Planet X Fest. That's my greatest puddle experience. Anyone else have a puddle experience they want to share?
When I think of puddle, I think of a little bit of rainwater with some tadpoles inside.
Ooh, that's a great puddle.
And then I imagine sort of nursing them and treating them as if they were my own children and making sure they grow up to be frogs.
And when you say nursing, you do mean on the breast.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Of course.
It's only natural.
You do mean human breast milk. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw some really fat tadpoles when we were in the Ozarks. They were like in this river, and they were, no joke, this big. And then
there's something
the
about
tails.
that's really gross.
They were like, they looked crazy, like bubble tea.
Yeah.
They were pretty freaky. I was like, these are going to be huge frogs. I've never seen a tadpole bigger than, a quarter maybe.
At one of the bars I worked at, underneath a bar mat behind the bar, there was like a big puddle. There was like there was a enormous pothole basically in the concrete, and it was always wet, and I shined flashlights on it. I poked it with stuff. I ran a mop over it a couple times, and it just like you could kind of move it around, but like I tried to get rid of it a couple times, and it would come back. And I wondered about that puddle because it was almost a solid. It was like on its way to being a solid. It was like a reddish black, like kind of flaky, chunky, yet liquidy, kind of a porridge consistency that was just coming out of the ground. And it smelled like sewage, but also kind of sweet. And I think that probably it had a lot of the sugars.
Like a dead thing?
Maybe. I don't know, but I think it had absorbed all the sugars of like the tequila we spill on the ground or whatever,
Yeah.
That
sounds like somebody's like grease trap got loose.
I spent a lot of time standing in and around that puddle. And that's a good puddle for me. That's a memorable puddle.
Yeah, that sounds like one for the ages.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess I've prepared a couple examples of notable puddles.
Oh yeah, please regale us.
So this is a historic puddle, and you know what? You can come at me if you think this isn't a puddle, but I think that it's definitely a puddle, even though I guess it is known what it is. But you've probably heard of it before. Maybe our competitors have done it. It's not obscure, so I don't know. Look, man, I don't know. It's hot in here, but I want to talk about the Great Boston Molasses Flood of 1915.
Donnie, Mocky, Bobby.
Donnie. Oh, 1919.
Oh, nice.
There you go. This is the quality you came for. Came for. It happened on January 15th, 1919.
So it was chilly.
It was chilly, but not as chilly as it should have been.
Uh-oh, what happened?
We'll get into it. So, it's 1919, it's January 15th. The puddle in question originates at the Purity Distilling Company's molasses tank, which is located in the north end of Boston. That's a neighborhood on the north side of Boston, Massachusetts. Boston's a city in the United States state of Massachusetts for you Canadians out there. I've realized that a lot of our audience is Canadian. I'm just trying to I'm not going to take for granted that everybody knows what Massachusetts is or how many feet or inches or whatever anymore. And I'm never going to let that slide again. Like you would slide in a puddle. This tank, by the way, is a molasses tank. It was frequently refilled from ships importing molasses into the harbor.
Does every city have a molasses tank?
Probably in 1919, yes. I would say less so now. This seems like something that, of course, And this molasses was being used to produce, alcohol. So this is bad molasses.
Bad boy molasses.
Right. So this tank, and this is not just some small tank. This is a 50 feet tall, 90 feet diameter tank.
Now, how tall is 50 feet?
That is 15 meters.
No. I mean, tell me in something else. What's a thing that's 50 feet tall?
What is? I don't know. How tall is a house?
What does 50 feet?
What is 50
look
feet?
Like?
What does 50 feet look like? The Hollywood sign, which of course I...
Yeah, because I'm always right up next to that.
And that's each letter, so...
Okay, no. Like a semi-truck's...
trailer.
Back.
Yeah.
The trailer.
Sir, it's the size of the megalodon.
Okay, and I swim with him often.
An extension cord.
An extension cord?
3 parking spaces end to end.
No. A semi's trailer that's a helpful metric.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
that's a tall ass tank.
That's a big ass tank, and then 90 feet in diameter. Or for you Canadians out there, that's 15 meters tall, 27 meters.
Did you convert every number you were going to talk about ahead of time?
No, I did not. Into that's 9. Yeah, I did. 27 meters in diameter. and had recently been filled to capacity with fresh, hot molasses for only the 4th time in its existence. Typically, they were pulling molasses out of the tank and putting it in, and it was like a cycle, but it was almost never fully full. The weather that day was unseasonably hot. It was 40 degrees Fahrenheit in Boston, Massachusetts on January 15th around noon, which is 4 degrees Celsius. For those Canadian listeners out there, you know who you are.
But not the Europeans. You can convert it yourself.
Yeah, if you're European, I don't know. That's just like, I don't want to hear about that. Now, I guess I've already buried the lead. The tank does explode in this story, but there were some. So this tank was like a fixture of the neighborhood, right? This was this is a mostly Italian immigrants, and then a previous wave of Irish immigrants as a working class kind of port dock neighborhood. Lots of boats. We're talking longshoremen. We're talking tugboatmen. We're talking stevedores. Like all that shit is going on.
Is this stevedore the horse guy?
No, they load and unload cargo.
That's a conquistador.
No.
No, that's a matador.
Wait, what? A Michelador?
No, okay.
What's a humidor?
Matador.
Humidor is for, like, what, cigars?
A humidor is for cigars. I have a humidor. I use it as a nightstand.
Is it for cigars?
Yeah.
Wait, you haven't gotten into cigars? Like, I feel like you and Jordan would absolutely be the kind of people
Come
who get
on.
into cigars. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Keep talking about the fucking maple syrup.
You guys are, like, absolutely, like early 30s getting into cigars.
Who the fuck is into cigars?
I don't know. Like,
Who is that?
I feel like you guys are
People into Ferraris.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan's
Love
really
cigars.
into Ferraris.
I could see that. You guys probably watch. Well, like F1 is like has gone woke now, right? So that's out. But like, but like what about IndyCar?
What's F? Oh, like European car racing?
Yeah, that's gone
Yeah.
woke.
Oh, how? Like, why did they let people have sex in the cars during the race? Like two men in the car having sex during the race?
No, it's just like gone woke. It's like it's like become popular with like the the left. The left has stolen F1.
They're making like prestige films about it.
Yeah, with Adam Driver.
Girls with tattoos are like tweeting about it.
Oh, oh no.
I don't think you should be able to have a job if you have visible tattoos, by the way. Anyway, so I think it's just common sense. But
yeah, that's what my grandma said.
So it was a hotter day than normal, 40 degrees, and it had previously been around freezing. And this tank had just been filled with piping hot molasses. There was cooler molasses in the tank when they pumped in more hot molasses to the top. And this made the molasses at the bottom expand as it got warmer.
It's like how a tornado is hot air and cold air.
Yes, it's exactly like that. And it created a vortex inside of it. This tank was a fixture of the neighborhood. It was actually painted brown because it leaked so much already in the summer months especially, that it was painted brown to hide all the drips.
Oh no.
And local people, especially like local kids, would go down to the tank with a bucket or a jar to fetch some molasses to bring home. It was like free molasses for the townies.
So weird.
Nice.
And they would bring it home to, like, mom would be like, "Hey, I'm making cookies, like go get some molasses." And you would just go down
Everything was made of molasses back then.
That's true.
You needed, every household needed 7 jars of molasses
Should
for
we
one
say
week.
what molasses is?
Yeah, what is
Yeah,
it?
what is it?
It's like a gloopy, sugary sort of viscous. It's extremely viscous. It's about 40% more dense than water.
How does it differ from maple syrup?
Well, maple syrup is the sap of the maple tree.
Yeah.
Molasses is a viscous substance from refined sugarcane or sugar beets.
Oh, so a totally different thing.
Yeah, I mean, it serves as, I think you could sub them out in a recipe, right? But
Sure. Well, yeah, except I think you'd have to control for density, kind of.
yeah, but it's quite thick, except when it's hot. So this tank fixture of the neighborhood, they love it. They come get the drips. They eat the drips. The Purity Distilling Company, which owned the tank, was filling it up so much and so quickly because they were hearing a lot of rumblings about a new anti-alcohol constitutional amendment that was going to be ratified. So there was kind of this rush to produce as much alcohol as possible. So anyway, around 12:30 p.m., the storage tank, which contained 2.3 million gallons at capacity, and it was full, 2.3 million gallons of molasses, which is, by the way, that's 8,706,447 liters for you Canadians out there. So that tank burst. Locals on the ground said that they heard a rumbling like an earthquake or a thunderstorm, and then a sound like a machine gun, which was the rivets of the tank popping out at rapid speed. And it exploded and created a wave of molasses 25 feet high that moved at 35 miles an hour and covered several city blocks. Yes.
What's the fastest you can run? Like a normal person.
Like me?
5 miles an
5
hour.
miles.
Can you outrun?
Absolutely not.
No, that's like a cheetah.
Not me.
I don't think
35 miles an hour is not like a cheetah.
I don't know.
Let's look it up.
Yeah, how fast can a person run? I don't think it's 5 miles. Izzy, I can walk
can a person
1 mile in 20 minutes.
run?
I don't like running.
Human.
I don't
want to do it.
I didn't ask if
speed.
you
I
want
don't
to.
want to.
Human
I don't
speed.
Want
Imagine,
to.
yeah.
It would be really laborious for me.
8 miles an hour male. 6.5 miles an hour female.
Okay,
Male
but
what? Person?
Don't cancel me. That's
Cheetah.
by the way, that's 10.6 kilometers per hour for men, and then that's 9.6 for
okay,
women.
but what about sprinting? Like, sure, in an hour, there's stamina involved. Well, like, I'm just trying to figure out, could you outrun the wave?
Fastest
If you saw it coming.
human running speed. That is that seems like it should. Okay, so the fastest is 27.5 miles per hour, reached briefly by Usain Bolt.
Okay, so not like a normal
So
person.
even he couldn't outrun it.
Yes, no. The record is 27.78 miles per hour, which, by the way, that's 44.72 kilometers per hour for you Canadians out there.
And that's a sprint.
That's a sprint, and that's Usain Bolt setting the world record.
Okay. So we would all be fucked.
Everybody
we'd
would be
for sure.
fucked. So did I say that's 7.62 meters high, that wave, 25 feet, 7.62 meters. Then that wave is moving at 46.327 kilometers per hour for Canadians. You know who you are, raise your hands. It was compared to the noise was like a thunderclap, the passing of an elevated train, a deep growling, and it sounded like a machine gun. People were picked up by the rush of air that was produced by the tank collapsing and hurled many feet. There was enough force that the wave tipped a streetcar off of the elevated rail's tracks. Buildings were swept off their foundations and crushed. A truck was picked up and thrown into Boston Harbor by the force of this. I mean, just an insanely crazy wave of a extremely viscous liquid. Now, the issue with this, I mean, other than the obvious, right? But the complicating factor was, as soon as it hits the wintry street, it's cooling down to cold molasses consistency. Mm-hmm. And then as the rescue workers were digging people out of this molasses, into the night, it dropped back down to zero. So it was like this frozen or nearly frozen, ultra viscous fluid.
It would be like getting people out of tar.
Exactly. Yeah. 21 people were killed, which is crazy.
That's a lot.
150 people were injured, and this will make you guys happy. Several horses were also killed. Sarah, this will make Sarah happy.
Wow.
Several horses
I
were
said
killed.
that I respect them from afar.
Oh, yeah, but...
I didn't say I want them to die.
Well, several several horses. We don't know how many
I
horses.
don't appreciate being painted as a horse murderer.
The news did not count the number of horses, but we know at least, I guess we can infer more than one horse was killed. Several blocks had 2 to 3
Between
feet.
2 and 100 horses were killed.
Yes, that's right. The several block radius around the tank had a molasses depth of 2 to 3 feet. So if it pushed you, if you were swept by the wave and say you broke your leg and then you were trapped under the molasses, you probably drowned, right? Or if you were hurt and couldn't stand and this molasses was hardening around you, you were screwed. The wave cooled rapidly, crushing and drowning all those people, 21 people and several horses. The rescue operation was extremely difficult. It took them days to get through the syrup, all of the syrup,
all the
puddles. This puddle was so massive that they were still searching for victims 4 days later. There were just areas that they couldn't get to because the puddle was so deep and thick. Many of the dead were so glazed over in molasses that they were unrecognizable.
Oh my God.
They had to be cleaned off first.
American Pompeii.
American Pompeii, and it was a really goopy puddle. The puddle itself, the neighborhood, was not fully cleaned up until that summer. So it took them until June to clean up this amount of molasses, and for years and decades later, people still said that they could smell it when on warm days, and it's still kind of probably just an urban legend now in that area of Boston. But there was for decades you can still smell the molasses coming out of the ground when it's a particularly hot summer day.
I want to go there and sniff.
I know, me too.
What a complicated association where you're
Yeah.
Aww.
The company, of course.
I bet they were cool and normal about it.
Yeah, what do you think the company did?
I bet they were our bad. We should definitely pay the families of the people who died. And repair all these businesses and homes that we destroyed through negligence. And then they probably did that, Yeah.
No, actually. The company claimed without any evidence that the tank had been blown up by anarchists. Seeking,
oh my God.
Yeah, they blamed anarchists. Nice. And that was the thing back then. This was the the Sacco and Vanzetti sort of everybody's, let's blame the Italian anarchist guys for everything, right? And they said that their motive was that the anarchists were upset because sometimes the alcohol that they produced was used for munitions, military purposes. A court-appointed auditor found
Jaeger bombs.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Bombs. Irish car bombs. Right.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Bro, I would do a bomb with you guys.
No, buddy. No.
I would do.
What is that?
Oh, Izzy, you've never done a bomb, have you?
I don't know what it is.
Isn't that what you do? Put a shot of Jägermeister in a Guinness, a pint of Guinness.
Yeah. So, that's a car bomb, which I guess that's that's a people get mad about it now.
Is it Bailey's if it's Irish?
Yes. So it's Jameson and a little bit of Bailey's dropped into layered in a shot glass, and then that's dropped into a glass with Guinness, and the whole thing is that it creates some kind of a curdling reaction with the cream. And you have to drink it within a minute, or it gets curdled and lumpy and nasty. So you have to chug it really fast.
Chug it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a good chugger.
There's also Red Bull bombs, whatever those are called. There's other kinds of bombs.
I would do a Red Bull bomb.
What is that called? What's that? Jeez, just what's
into
that?
A cider.
Nothing really rolls off the tongue like Irish car bomb, though.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's a great name for anything.
I used to call it because people get upset, people get pissed like, you know, people,
who gets pissed about that? If you're
fucking-
Irish, you'd be like, yeah, it's a badass name.
fucking people who are
Who,
really into their Irish
English?
grad students who are really excited about their Irish heritage get pissed. So
I feel like you'd be like, that's cool. Like, that's acknowledging our struggle.
I used to call it
Yeah.
the sectarian violence in Northern Ireland themed drop shot.
Yeah, that's good.
It's like, you want to, you know, the shot in the sectarian violence in Northern Ireland drop shot.
I bet Bono doesn't think it's funny at all.
No, Bono would
Could you
hate
spot
Car
the
Bomb.
grad students at the bar?
What?
Could you spot the grad students at the bar?
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the bar I worked at for the longest time was like there were two main constituencies, right? You know, it was grad
Alcoholic
students
townies.
and townies, yeah, and it was
Yeah.
pretty clear who was who.
Yeah, you
usually.
can tell who the grad students are because they're the ones that look like fucking weenies.
I mean,
They're the ones you could push right over.
there was always this beautiful time of night though, where like, because the grad students start showing up around like 8, right, and then the townies start showing up around 11.
Yeah.
But there's this beautiful part around 1 or 2 where the grad students, only the strongest grad students have like survived and have like been accepted into the townie group. So you've got like, you know, Braden, who's writing his thesis on like Mesoamerican, you know, obsidian production in, you know, pre-Columbian Mexico, and then you've got, you know, Austin, who has a you know, Hoosier by birth, motherfucker by choice tattooed on his stomach.
Yeah.
It was always a fun mix. I hated all of them though. I hope everybody's good. back
Not
there.
Austin.
No,
Shout out
Austin's
to
great.
Austin.
Shout out to Austin, man. There's no way he would listen to a podcast. He would just. I don't think.
I feel like he has not even heard of that.
No, I don't think he would tolerate it. He's too smart. He can't be tricked.
Yeah. Grad students, though, you can trick them into listening to any podcast.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Come on. Yeah. So the tank was not, in fact, blown up by anarchists. It turned out the investigation afterwards turned out that the steel was about half as thick as it needed to be to hold that weight of a maximum capacity molasses tank. The steel, they cheaped out on the steel too, and it didn't have like magnesium in it or something like that. Basically they chose a cheap, extremely brittle steel to make the tank out of.
This is a carbon fiber hull type situation.
This is
you're saying.
exactly that. Yeah. Except that the pressure is inside.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, they really didn't do a good job. It was missing a bunch of rivets. It was built poorly by a cheap company, and it was actually one of the. It was a pivotal case for corporate responsibility for industrial accidents. It was like one of the first big judgments against a corporation on behalf of a class action lawsuit of just the residents.
Nice.
So the company ended up having to pay. It took them 3 years to determine that this was their fault. Like, no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The company paid $628,000 per person.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry. Oh no.
What's that in loonies?
No. I'm sorry. That's $628,000 total.
Okay.
Around relatives of those killed received $7,000, which is equivalent to $118,000 in 2022. And in 2022, that whole judgment would be $10.6 million. So not enough for just destroying 3 city blocks and killing 21 people. But yeah, let's see. What is that in Canadian? I don't want to exclude anybody.
This is an inclusive podcast. We talk about every denomination of currency that exists. He's gonna go through all of them. That'll be the next 17 hours of this episode.
So I'm just going with just the adjusted value for 2022 to CAD. That's 14,000, or I'm so sorry, that's 14,012 Canadian dollars.
Wow. And all of this because of prohibition.
All this because of prohibition.
Really makes you think.
Funny enough, the 18th Amendment was ratified the very next day on January 16th, 1919. But they still had a year to produce alcohol before the laws went into effect. But I don't think they knew that, so they were just kind of panicking and trying to produce as much as possible before alcohol got banned. But turned out they had a year.
Yeah.
So
And that's why we should stop all production.
Yeah. Just
wish-
in general.
Stop it.
Just stop all production.
the production of alcohol,
No, just production.
just all production.
Yeah.
That sounds like the anarchists that blew up the tank. That's what they would say. You anarchists are always doing this stuff.
You are always wearing those little hats that it's like if you took a baseball cap and you made it so much smaller and you made it knit and the brim didn't cover anything.
Why are you doing that?
Why? And it's always black, but it's faded, or it's dark brown, or it's kind of army green. Why?
Why are you doing that? Why are you blowing up
Why?
our sugar tanks?
Yeah. And where do you even buy those hats?
Where do you even buy those hats? Is there a store?
Probably wherever you can still get a slingshot.
Crime Think Hat Company?
Crime Think hat, yeah.
So do you think this was a puddle at all, or do you think this is just a flood? Because this is kind of the thing that I was struggling with. Like, when does a puddle become a flood? When does a flood become a puddle?
It seems like in its early stages, it is moving to me too much to be a puddle. And then, as it cools, it becomes more like the sort of the activity level of a puddle. But is it liquid enough to be a puddle by then?
I think so. I mean, I think a puddle can be an ooze or a sludge.
Yeah. There's probably like a kind of a perfect moment before it like hardens too much, but it's not really moving anymore. That it's definitely a puddle for a time. It was in a transient puddle
just
state.
like it's like fly paper, but over city blocks. And 3
How would you
feet
ever
deep.
clean all of that up?
I don't know. I mean, it took
You
them
can't.
6 months. But yeah,
Yeah,
you
like
can't.
what do you use to get molasses off of something?
I imagine that you had to like wait till it heated up, right?
Goof off.
Yeah, Gugon.
Yeah.
They didn't even have Gugon back then.
I feel like you would have had to wait until like the hottest day of the summer and then like pressure wash that shit all out
Scrape
into the
it.
ocean. Yeah, what is there like a solvent that
Yeah, acetone.
And everything back then was so uneven. Like nothing was smooth. They had cobblestones. Everything was like hand plastered. You're not getting anything out of those cracks. You can't use a paint scraper on that shit.
That's true.
apparently they were using picks and chisels initially
Yeah.
to
what?
because it was hard because it was cold in January. They were chiseling it out.
Yeah, maybe if you wait till it's cold enough, it freezes, and then you can just like chip it out.
I don't think it chips out like ice. I don't think it
Yeah.
like freezes like ice. I think it's just
It
like
doesn't get to that consistency. It stays goopy.
I think it's just like really really hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
Like a stone?
Like a stone.
like a stone. Okay, yeah. So they tried using fire hydrants to flush it away. It didn't work. Salt water. Oh wow, they figured it out. One firefighter had the idea that maybe salt water would cut the molasses
Taffy.
and allow it to be washed away. They pumped in millions of gallons of salt water, and they washed it away. The harbor was
salt water.
wow. The harbor itself was an unusual shade of brown for months.
Whoa. Because it probably just sat on the bottom.
Yeah, probably.
Where's it gonna go?
Ooh, I wonder if their fish taste sweet over there.
I was gonna say,
Ooh.
did it make the water sweet like a big iced
Yeah.
tea?
Yeah.
And isn't that the same harbor where they dumped the tea out?
Oh,
Oh,
that harbor, I bet
shit.
it tastes real good.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's like
Those like lobsters are seasoned.
that's a London fog of a harbor, you ever a
Yeah.
London fog?
They're like, you want an Earl Grey, a lobster infused with Earl Grey and a hint of molasses. There you go.
Ooh, that sounds so yummy actually.
Actually, have you ever eaten lobster? I haven't.
No.
I haven't either. I haven't eaten a crab type thing.
Shellfish.
I haven't
Maybe you're
eaten
allergic and you don't know.
The
Probably
basements were the hardest part. They'd use hydraulic pumps to pump seawater into the
Whoa.
basements, and then use.
Whoa.
It took 6 months to get rid of it all. But also like it was tracked all over Boston by the subway cars and the horses and the people. So Boston was sticky and smelled above. Boston smelled of molasses for a long time, for decades.
Oh, it's so annoying when you go into your house and you're like, oh, I got sticky on me. Like, you know when you get tree sap on your hands and then your life is just dominated by it?
Yeah. Oh my God, I always
That's
have
no
tree
good.
sap all over my hands.
Why?
I always have them like sticky and I got tree sap on me. Yeah. So this is a news article from 2 years ago that I just wanted to bring up because I am confused about it, and I did just the right amount of research, which is that I saw the article and I didn't investigate. But this is been picked up by an Australian news website. But there are a few articles about this, but this article's headline is Mystery Puddle Keeps Growing Despite Sunshine and No Rain. Counselor says it's not pineapple juice. Now I want to read that one more time. This is the headline.
Yeah, please.
Mystery Puddle keeps growing despite sunshine and no rain. Counselor says it's not pineapple juice.
Mm.
And then
that was my first question.
Yeah. Same.
Is it pineapple juice? And especially knowing that this puddle was in Scotland, where pineapples famously grow.
So this is in Cowdenbreath in West Fife, Scotland, in August of 2021. The mystery surrounding a UK puddle which formed with no rain and glaring sunshine deepens, with tests no closer to identifying the source of the liquid. At one stage, the local council believed it could have been pineapple juice, but tests determined that this was not the case. It is growing despite warm summer weather. Local councillor Darren Watt took to Facebook, vowing to find out the cause. He said the leak is posing an outgoing issue to the community. Although this is very localized, it is a concern for a number of nearby residents, he writes. I will continue to work with Fife Council, Scottish Water, and SEPA to resolve, and I will be sure to share any updates or significant developments. Tests, they had it laboratory tested and said it was not pineapple juice.
Wow, great use of resources.
Yeah. Fife Council.
Why not just smell it?
It's thought that a burst pipe is to be responsible, but it appears to be more mysterious in origin than that. And it does just kind of look like a wet little muddy puddle. And they did build a fence. They put a portable construction fence around it, which is really
maybe it's a little
else.
spring. Maybe it's a sweet little spring.
They had to put a fence around it because if it was pineapple juice, people might like take their jars and go get some, like the molasses.
Now, this is an article from. Okay, are these around the same time? Yeah. So these are the Fife Times. Is basically just following this counselor Darren Watt's struggle for justice. They thought it was pineapple juice from the nearby Graham's Dairy facility, which
what?
Yeah, I know that's same. I mean, yeah, like same. What? So the just so you know, so Fife Council Service Manager Linda Turner says that the local authority was aware of the issue. She says, and I feel like this is not the right thing to say to the people affected by this, but the land is owned by Fife Council and has suffered grass dieback as a consequence. An area of the site has been fenced off as a precaution. We are currently working with other agencies and an adjacent business to determine the nature of the puddle. So,
why do you think that's the wrong thing for her to say?
I just think that focusing on the grass dying on council-owned land is like, she wasn't like, oh, we're terribly sorry for this puddle in your neighborhood.
For your plight as citizens.
Yeah, but she's like, oh, we actually own this grass and it's dying, so you should check your privilege. Like, that's a little, like, shitty.
But they're really into paying taxes over there. I bet they're like, that's our grass, you know?
I got another one real quick. I got a mysterious bright green liquid on a Michigan highway in 2019 in December.
Ooh.
And there's just that is a glorious puddle. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that one in the chat
like
for you guys.
Nickelodeon slime.
Oh, it is really something else. Like, yeah, that's a great puddle here. So this puddle,
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Ooh,
this
oh,
puddle spontaneously appeared from a highway shoulder wall on Interstate 696. The Michigan Department of Energy spokeswoman said that this certainly is an impressive sight. But this puddle persisted for a little bit, and then it turned out there was a culprit. It was runoff from a now closed electroplating factory.
Oh, no.
Oh, that seems bad.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be. Why is it that green?
It looks like Ecto Cooler.
Well,
Yeah.
federal
like
safety
Slimer made it.
officials say that it is primarily the chemical hexavalent chromium.
No, that's the bad one.
That's from Aaron Brockovich.
That's the Aaron Brockovich one.
Yes. Yeah. So it's hexavalent chromium. It's an industrial byproduct that is cancer causing if ingested. The chemical. So it's from Aaron Brockovich, named after the environmental activist who fought against the presence of the chemical.
She invented
That's
it.
right. But yes, it is the Aaron Brockovich chemical, and it was all over a Michigan highway.
And people were drinking it.
Oh.
They were putting their mouths on that thing.
They
so
were
thought
like,
it was
they
Ecto
pulled
Cooler.
over it. Yeah.
Have you guys seen those pink lakes that look like puddles?
Yeah.
Ooh, those are my favorite. Those are so.
Are they sulfur? What makes them pink?
This is a puddle. Like that's a puddle.
That's a puddle.
They're in Australia, I think.
There's one in British Columbia, Canada, for those American listeners. Just so you know, that's a place in
It's
Canada.
got to be some kind of salt or something, right?
What's the deal with that? See, this is the thing.
Yeah, why is that one pink but then that one's blue?
That's tough to
ocean,
say.
I mean.
It's
Why
tough
are
to
some
say.
things pink and some things blue?
Yeah.
Why are some things
'Cause
pink
one-
and some things blue?
Probably it's
Like, why isn't the ocean a little pink if it's next to this one?
A lot to think
maybe
about.
because this is way shallower, and so it the pink is all concentrated.
These puddle pictures are amazing. If you're listening and you're not looking at these pics, you're only getting to experience half the episode.
Yeah, this Scotland puddle is really it's a sight to behold.
It's really a beautiful puddle, and I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out if there's any resolution to this.
You can see
I
why
assume
they're
they
so
just-
concerned.
Yeah, I mean it's big. It seems to be killing everything around it. Yeah, I mean, I love a puddle local interest story.
Okay, here's a piece of evidence. The grass around it seems very bright green, and I know from growing up with a septic tank that a lot of the times if your septic tank is not draining right, it makes the grass around it like really vivid because it's like getting too many nutrients from the septic tank.
Yeah.
So I think this is shit water.
I think you're probably right, but that's the beauty of the puddles, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not fun if it's just like, oh, it's shit water, but if we don't know,
Yeah.
it's oh god, it's been described as yellow, sticky, and sweet.
Oh.
Sweet.
Oh, that's horrible. Oh god, so it's like
The
fermented
pink
shit
lakes are
water?
algae.
Oh.
Algae. Yeah, that makes sense.
They're salt-tolerant algae.
Man, why don't our algae blooms make everything look pink? Instead, we just can't. The water tastes and smells like the stinky. You
You
like
can swim in it. And you float.
yeah, high salt. That makes sense.
I want to go there.
Okay.
So
Go to British Columbia, float in the puddle.
a local
Float in the
commenter
puddle.
about the Scottish puddle said it's cowdenbeath, so it's either pish or engine oil from the stockies. So take that, what you will.
Yeah, I know exactly what that means.
Yeah, it's pish or it's engine oil from the stockies. So I think that the moral of this story is that like some puddles should be solved if needed to be. Some puddles, no
Yeah.
solving necessary. Just leave it be. If it's green
Yeah.
and glowing on the highway, just let it be. If it's pink and beautiful next to ocean, just let that go too. Just take a dip. Be careful. Maybe smell it first. And
Yeah, you
and
gotta just pass the
Careful.
sniff test.
You might float.
And I'm sorry
Yeah.
there wasn't a Werner Herzog doc about puddles.
We should write to him.
We should write to him.
All right. Hey, thanks for listening. I know this was an episode for the losers. I mean, not losers, but like the people who didn't win. What's another word for that?
Second place.
The
silver tier.
Yeah.
Righteous.
Our executive class.
The righteous victims of the tyranny of the majority here.
Yeah, right,
making
right.
poor choices.
Colin,
No, I don't know. Yeah, this is an episode for those of us who for the boys.
You don't often get your voice heard, but you deserve to have a seat at the table too, Puddle Boiz. If anything has ever happened to you with the puddle, you got a crazy puddle story, give us a ring. We'd love to hear about it.
70645 Bimbo.
That's the one. Hey, even though the gods are crazy.
And even though the stars are blind.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. Canadians, if I did a good enough job converting your measurements and your language to our language, like, let me know.
You should PayPal him for his emotional labor.
Yeah, like, I mean, I just...
Yeah, Venmo him.
Venmo Dylan.
Yeah, and hey, here it is. This was Puddles. Splish Splash, everybody.